After my uncle died, I was named executor of his will. He'd left me a list of hidden accounts, a classic car, and a $150,000 stock portfolio. But when I got to the bank, everything had been liquidated. My aunt admitted she'd withdrawn it all 2 days before he passed. He would have wanted me to have it, she said. You're young, you'll bounce back. Then she flew to Italy and posted, "Grieving is easier in Florence. I'm 33 and live in Akron, Ohio. I work full-time doing HVAC installs and repairs. It's decent money, but it's hard work and the hours are long. I live in a modest house my uncle helped me put a down payment on about 8 years ago. I don't have a wife or kids. I've been trying to get ahead, pay off the house, save what I can. My Uncle Ron was my mom's brother. I don't have a big family. My dad bailed when I was little and my mom passed from breast cancer when I was 23. Ron stepped up in every way you'd hope someone would. He helped me through school, let me crash at his place when I lost my first apartment, and treated me more like a son than a nephew. He was a quiet guy. Retired from Goodyear, real hands-on type. He'd spend hours in the garage rebuilding old engines. Never flashy. Always saving. He liked to plan for things. His wife, Sharon, was the complete opposite. Fancy clothes, new purses every month, always planning vacations. She treated Ron like a checkbook. Everyone knew it. I don't think he ever really loved her near the end. I think he just got tired of the fight. They didn't have kids, so I ended up being the one he leaned on when things got bad. When he got sick, stage 4 lung cancer, it all happened fast. He didn't want to die in a hospital, so I helped set him up with hospice at home. I was there almost every day after work. Sharon? She'd wander in late or not at all. Complained about the smell of the oxygen machine. Said things like, "This house is depressing." Even while he was dying, she never stopped shopping. The last time I saw him fully conscious, he couldn't speak anymore. But he scribbled something on a notepad and passed it to me. It said, "Executor. Trust you. Desk, bank, stocks, car." I thought he meant he wanted me to take care of things. I didn't know how deep that went until after he passed. After the funeral, which Sharon turned into some weird wine and cheese event at a country club, she was all smiles. Didn't cry. Didn't say a single kind word about him. Just told people she was planning a healing trip to Europe. That night, I went to his home office. In the bottom drawer of his desk was a locked metal box. He had told me the combo a year ago, just in case. Inside was everything. His will, a notarized letter naming me executor, titles, account numbers, stock certificates, a list of assets, even post-it notes on what he wanted sold and what he wanted me to keep. He left me the Mustang he'd been restoring since I was 12. He left me his stock portfolio worth around $150,000 when I checked the tickers. He also had savings and a separate investment account. All of it was marked clearly. For James, it said. My name. I got a lawyer. Everything checked out. The will was valid. I was officially named executor. But when I went to the bank to start the process, the branch manager gave me a look I'll never forget. A kind of tight-lipped, "Oh no" look. She pulled me into a side room. "I'm sorry, Mr. Branning," she said. "All of these accounts were closed 2 days before Mr. Morrison passed." "What? That can't be right," I told her. "He was unconscious. He couldn't have closed anything." She nodded slowly. "They were closed by Mrs. Morrison. In person. All funds were withdrawn in cashier's checks. She brought identification, a durable power of attorney signed 3 months ago." I couldn't speak. My whole face went hot. I thought I might throw up. They pulled the camera footage. It was her. She wore the stupid wide-brimmed hat and a scarf like she thought she was in a movie. Walked in calm as ever, laughed with the teller, signed a few papers, and walked out with over $150,000. I drove straight to her house. She was packing. "You stole his money," I said the second she opened the door. She didn't even flinch. Just said he would have wanted me to have it. "You're young. You'll bounce back." Then she laughed. Laughed. I could barely hold back my rage. I told her I was the executor, that she had no legal right to take anything. She just shrugged. "Then sue me." And then she got on a flight to Italy. Next morning, she posted a photo of herself on Facebook holding a glass of wine under the caption, "Grieving is easier in Florence." Broke a heart wine glass. I sat there staring at the screen for 10 minutes. My hands were shaking. That wasn't grief. That was celebration. She'd looted a dying man's money and skipped off to Europe like it was some prize she earned. I called my lawyer. He was furious too. Said it wouldn't be easy, but we had a few options. So I started digging. Deep. And she had no idea how much I'd find. I didn't sleep much after that. I kept seeing her smug little smile in that Facebook photo. She had a scarf around her neck, a wine glass in her hand, and some guy taking the picture. I couldn't tell who he was. Looked younger. Maybe 40s. Not my uncle's friends, that was for sure. I went back to the lawyer. His name's Dave, a friend of a friend. Real sharp, no-nonsense guy. He looked over everything again and said, "We've got a shot. But it's going to be messy. And expensive." Sharon had used a power of attorney Ron signed 3 months before he passed. That was key. If he was mentally sound at the time, it might hold up. But if we could prove he was being manipulated or wasn't of sound mind when he signed it, that changed everything. So we started building a case. I tracked down Ron's hospice nurse, a woman named Cheryl. She remembered the day Sharon came in with papers and had Ron sign a bunch of stuff. He was already confused by then, Cheryl said. Didn't even know what day it was most of the time. That woman kept saying, "Just sign it, Ron, it's routine stuff." I thought it was for insurance. Cheryl agreed to give a statement. That helped. A lot. Then I started looking into Sharon's spending. She was posting constantly from Italy. One post from Venice. One from Milan. Another from the Amalfi Coast. She was tagging luxury hotels, high-end restaurants, and designer shops. Every other post was some fake deep quote about letting go or healing. The weirdest part? She kept tagging that same guy in her pictures. I clicked through to his profile. His name was Marco Ferri. Born in New York. Now living his best life in Rome. And he had posts going back months with Sharon in them, before Ron even got sick. They'd been having an affair. That was when things got dark. I remembered Ron asking me last summer if I'd seen anything strange. He'd noticed credit card charges in euros. He said, "I think she's hiding something. But maybe I'm just getting paranoid." He wasn't paranoid. I started gathering proof. I pulled all his old bank and credit card records. A lot of them matched up with Marco's travel posts. Florence in March. Sharon's card had hotel charges there. Same with Paris the next month. Then again in Mykonos. She'd been traveling Europe for a year, meeting up with this guy while Ron was at home. Dying. I felt sick, but also more focused than I'd ever been. I kept everything. Screenshots, bank statements, timestamps. I handed it all to Dave. He whistled low and said, "This just turned from probate to full-on fraud, and maybe elder abuse." He filed a motion with the court to freeze any assets still in Sharon's name and started building a civil case. We also reported it to the local DA, who said they'd look into possible criminal charges. While this was going on, Sharon started selling Ron's stuff back home. His workshop? Gone. All the tools, the equipment, his prized tool chest, sold. Even the Mustang he'd left me. I found the ad online. She listed it for $10,000 even though it was worth twice that. I called the number pretending to be a buyer and got her assistant. "Car's already been sold," she said. "Some collector from Michigan picked it up last week. Paid cash." I wanted to scream. That car was mine. It was the one thing from Ron I'd been dreaming about since I was a kid. So I did something I wasn't proud of. I went through her email. See, I still had access to Ron's home office, and she'd left a bunch of files behind on the shared desktop, including saved passwords. I logged into her Gmail, and what I found, there were emails to Marco about transferring everything to Italy. She wasn't just blowing the money on wine and handbags. She was planning to move it. She even asked him to help find a lawyer there to shield the assets. But the real kicker? She'd opened a new bank account in Rome, under a different name. I printed it all. Dave handed it to the court. Within 2 weeks, we had a temporary freeze placed on any U.S. assets she still had. The Mustang was gone, but we were tracking the cash. The DA started getting serious too. Called me in for a formal interview. And that was when I decided this wasn't just about the money anymore. I wanted her to feel everything Ron felt. Alone, betrayed, and helpless. And I was just getting started. A week after I gave the DA everything, they called me back. "We're considering opening a criminal case," the investigator said. "But we're hitting a snag. The power of attorney. It's valid on paper. If we can't prove he was mentally incompetent when he signed, it's hard to prosecute. But we have the nurse's statement," I said. "She's not medical staff. Just hospice care. Helpful, but not enough. We need a doctor's note or medical record. Something concrete." So I went digging again. I remembered Ron's primary doctor, Dr. Sims. Small office over on Exchange Street. I drove over in person. Told them I was executor of Ron's estate and needed any files from the last year of his life. The receptionist hesitated. We can't release medical records to you. I showed her the will. Showed her the executor paperwork. She still shook her head. But I didn't leave. I just sat there. Eventually, Dr. Sims came out. He remembered Ron. Nice man, he said. Came in here a lot near the end. I told him what was going on. That Sharon had taken everything. That we suspected she'd used the power of attorney while Ron wasn't in his right mind. Dr. Sims nodded slowly. I can't give you records without a court order. But I can tell you this, Ron came in the week Sharon had him sign that paperwork. He couldn't finish his sentences. He got lost trying to explain what day it was. That was enough. Dave filed for a court order to obtain those records. It was granted a few days later. When they came in, it showed what we needed. On the very day Ron signed the power of attorney, his chart listed moderate to severe cognitive decline and early-stage confusion related to end-of-life illness. That cracked the door wide open. Meanwhile, I'd been following Sharon's online trail. She was posting less now. I think she'd heard about the legal trouble. One post in particular got to me. She was sitting at a long table in Tuscany, laughing with Marco, captioned, "My new life begins red heart wine glass." I stared at that picture for a long time. Something felt off. I zoomed in and saw the background, a faded sign on a villa behind them. I ran it through a photo recognition tool. It was a rental property, a luxury Airbnb. I clicked around the listing. The owner had their full name on it, Giuseppe C. I sent him a message pretending to be a travel blogger asking for a collaboration. He replied the next day, eager to talk. We set up a video call. I let him talk about his place, the rates, the area. Then I asked casually if any Americans were renting at the moment. "Oh yes," he said. "Very kind woman from Ohio. She and her husband, Marco, are here for a long stay." "Husband?" I asked. "Yes, she says so. They are married. Or soon to be." That made my stomach turn. Sharon wasn't just running. She was replacing Ron. Using the money he saved to play house with another man on the other side of the world. I thanked Giuseppe and got off the call. Then I sent everything to Dave and the DA's office. The marriage lie, the account in Italy, the plan to transfer money under a fake name. It all added up to one thing. Fraud with intent to conceal assets. Then, like fate wanted to throw me a bone, something big happened. Marco slipped up. He posted a photo on Instagram from a bank in Rome. Tagged the location like an idiot. Said something about making smart moves. The logo behind him belonged to a small investment firm that dealt in offshore trusts. Dave moved fast. We got the courts to file a formal request with the Italian consulate. It was slow, painfully slow, but progress was being made. Then, a twist I didn't expect, Sharon came home. Out of nowhere, she flew back to Ohio. No warning. She showed up at Ron's old house like she still owned it. I was already living there temporarily, since the estate was still in probate. I opened the door. She looked different, older, more tired. "We need to talk," she said. I didn't say anything, just stepped aside and let her in. She walked through like she still belonged there, looked around, sat down on the couch like it was any other Tuesday. "You're ruining my life," she said finally. "I just want to move on. Ron would hate this." I laughed, couldn't help it. "Ron trusted you," I said. "He left you everything he had, including his last days, and you used that time to steal from him. Then you ran off with your side guy. And now you want peace." She stared at me for a long time. Then she did something I didn't expect. She started to cry. But I didn't care. This wasn't guilt. This was fear. She'd gotten wind of what was coming. Sharon stayed on the couch for over an hour that day, crying into a tissue she pulled from her purse. I didn't say much, just watched her. I didn't trust a single tear. "I didn't know how sick he was," she said. "He was hiding it from me. I thought we still had time. I didn't think it was wrong to take what he and I built. I didn't say anything at first, because none of it mattered. I'd seen the emails. She knew. She just didn't care. I made some bad decisions," she went on. "But you have to understand. I've never had control of anything. Ron always kept me on a tight leash. I needed something that was mine. Her words hit wrong. Like she thought this was some kind of therapy session. Like she was owed sympathy. I leaned forward and said, Ron didn't owe you freedom. He was dying. You didn't just take money, Sharon. You stole his dignity. She flinched. Like she hadn't expected that. Then she reached into her purse and pulled out a thick envelope. She slid it across the coffee table. This is what's left, she said. About $38,000. I wired the rest to Marco. He disappeared last week. Won't return my calls. His number's disconnected. I think he took off with everything. I stared at her. You're saying you were conned too? She nodded. But this time, no tears. That was the new twist. Marco was a grifter. We looked him up again. This time deeper. Dave found out Marco Ferry wasn't his real name. His real name was Peter Glenn, originally from Tampa. He'd legally changed it in 2018, moved overseas, and had a string of small-time fraud cases in the States before he left. The pattern was always the same. Rich older women, European trips, promises of a future. Then he vanished with their money. Sharon got played. And as much as I wanted to feel smug about it, it also changed the legal angle. See, if Sharon lost most of the money to a known fraudster, it would complicate our case. The money might not be traceable. We might not get most of it back. And criminal court doesn't care about heartbreak, they care about intent, paper trails, and what can be proven. Still, we had the documents, the video footage, and the fake power of attorney filed during Ron's mental decline. That was enough to keep our civil suit alive and our foot on her neck. But then she dropped another bomb. I have something else, she said. I didn't think it mattered, but maybe it does. She went out to her car and came back with a USB stick. Said it had some of Ron's old files on it. Stuff she found cleaning out his office. I plugged it into my laptop. Inside were videos. Dozens of them. Ron sitting in his garage, talking to his phone. He must have recorded these during the months Sharon was off in Europe and he was alone. They were like video journals. And what he said, it was devastating. I think Sharon's cheating. I saw her emails. I don't know how to bring it up. She's been gone for weeks. I'm not doing great. If she comes back, I want to believe she'll take care of things. But I don't know if I trust her anymore. In one video, he cried, I don't think she loves me. I think she's just waiting for me to die. I want to believe she'll do the right thing. But just in case, I'm leaving everything to James. That was it. Proof of intent. Straight from Ron himself. The videos were dated, time-stamped, and stored on a drive she tried to keep hidden. Maybe forgot about entirely. Or maybe Marco told her to destroy it and she didn't get around to it. Dave sent copies to the court immediately. The DA's office bumped up their investigation. Now it wasn't just a civil case. This was shaping up to be a criminal one. But Sharon? She'd lost everything. The money. The man. The fake new life. Now she was desperate. And that's when she made her final move. She filed paperwork to challenge the will. Said Ron was under undue influence when he left it to me. That I had manipulated him. That I was the one who pushed her out. And that was her biggest mistake yet. When Dave called to tell me she filed to contest the will, I felt this strange kind of calm. Like when a storm gets so loud you stop flinching. I asked him what we needed to do. We fight it, he said. She's trying to flip the script. Make you out to be the villain. But we have the videos. The nurse statement. Her emails. Her travel records. If she wants to go to war, we're ready. The court set a date. Probate court doesn't work like you see in movies. It's slow. Boring. But this wasn't boring. The judge knew something wasn't right the second Sharon walked in, dressed like she was still on vacation, heels, sunglasses on her head, gold bracelet clinking on her wrist. Her lawyer, some guy out of Columbus, looked uncomfortable even sitting next to her. I sat in the front row behind Dave. I wasn't going to testify that day, but I wanted to be there. Sharon tried to cry in front of the judge. Talked about how Ron was her husband, how they shared a life, how devastated she was by his passing. He wasn't in his right mind, she said. He barely knew what day it was. James isolated him. Took control of everything. I was shut out. The judge didn't flinch. Dave stood up, calm as ever. He didn't even raise his voice. Your Honor, I have video evidence recorded by Mr. Morrison himself. Statements he made with full awareness. I have a doctor's report confirming mental decline. A hospice worker's sworn affidavit. and bank records showing Mrs. Morrison liquidated over $150,000 using power of attorney during that decline. Funds that were meant for the estate. He plugged in a USB and played a clip. There was Ron, his voice raspy, weak, but clear. "I don't trust her. I'm scared she's going to take everything. I don't want her to get a dime. I'm leaving it all to James." The courtroom was silent. Sharon didn't cry this time. She just stared straight ahead, jaw clenched. That one clip destroyed her entire argument. The judge stopped the hearing early, said she would issue a ruling in a few days. But we knew. 2 weeks later, the court ruled in my favor. The will stood. Sharon's challenge was denied. And because of the fraud, the judge allowed us to pursue damages and recovery through civil court. We filed suit for theft, fraud, and estate manipulation. And it stuck. But it wasn't over yet. The DA's office reached out with a formal notice. They were filing charges, felony elder financial abuse and theft. They asked me if I wanted to be present at her arraignment. I said yes. I watched her walk in that courtroom in handcuffs. She didn't look like Florence anymore. She looked tired, pale, beat down. When the judge read the charges, she didn't even try to deny it. She took a deal. I pleaded guilty to financial elder abuse with a reduced sentence and partial restitution agreement. They gave her 18 months in prison and 5 years probation. She also had to pay back $75,000 or the state would seize her assets. What was left of them? But that wasn't even the most satisfying part. The story went public. A reporter picked up the case from the court filings and wrote a piece titled, "Wine, Lies, and a Stolen Will. Akron woman charged in late husband's estate scandal." It spread. Her face was in the paper, online, everywhere. Everyone in town knew. She went from sipping wine in Florence to eating off a tray in county jail. Marco? He was never caught. Last I heard, someone thought they spotted him in Morocco. But honestly, I hope he's out there scamming another scammer. Let them destroy each other. As for me, I kept the Mustang. Found the guy in Michigan who bought it, offered him $15,000. He handed me the keys without a fight once he learned the story. I restored it myself. Took me almost a year, but I did it. It's sitting in my garage now, purring like it always did when I was a kid. I drive it on Sundays. Windows down, oldies on the radio. Every time I do, I think about Uncle Ron. He wasn't perfect. None of us are. But he trusted me when it counted. And I made damn sure the trust wasn't wasted.